Your soulmate finally realized your worth. And they're panicking. My child, I see you sitting there with your heart half open and half hidden, scrolling through your life with a quiet ache that you have never fully named. I have watched you trace the outline of a love that has not yet arrived, and I have heard the prayers you whispered into your pillow when no one else was listening. This message is not for everyone, and it is not by accident that your eyes are on these words right now, because what I am about to reveal is already unfolding inside someone who is thinking of you at this very moment. Your soulmate has finally realized your worth, and the realization did not come gently or peacefully, but through a sudden and terrifying jolt that shattered the fog they have been living in. They are not calm right now, and they are not distant because they want to be, but because a truth they tried to bury has broken through every wall they built, and they are panicking. I am letting you see this today because you need to understand what is happening on the other side of your waiting, and you need to know that your love has never been one-sided. Jesus says, "The person you have been longing for just experienced a moment I designed specifically for their awakening, and it has left them breathless and afraid." They were going through their ordinary day, doing ordinary things, when suddenly a memory of you landed in their chest like a stone dropped into still water, and every ripple reminded them of what they tried to forget. The memory was not just an image of your face, but a full-body recollection of how safe they felt beside you, how seen they were in your presence, and how nothing in their life since then has ever measured up to the quiet peace you gave them. That memory sat on their heart for hours, and then it became something more dangerous than nostalgia because it became a question they could not answer. The question was simple but devastating, and it echoed through every corner of their mind until they had no choice but to face it. What have I done, and why did I walk away from the one person who actually loved me correctly? They tried to push the question down with distractions, with busyness, with convincing themselves that time had already closed the door, but the question refused to be silenced. Now they are sitting somewhere, perhaps in their car or on the edge of their bed, staring at nothing and feeling everything, and the weight of their own choices is pressing down on their spirit. They are panicking because they suddenly see you clearly for the first time since the separation, and the clarity is merciless, stripping away every justification they used to leave or stay away. Your worth has become undeniable to them, and the undeniability of it is terrifying because it means they have been wrong, deeply wrong, and the thought of losing you forever is now a knife they cannot remove from their chest. I am showing you this not to hurt you but to let you know that you have never been forgotten, and that the silence you interpreted as indifference was actually a war happening inside someone who did not know how to reach you. Your soulmate is emotionally paralyzed right now, caught between the overwhelming urge to run toward you and the crippling fear that they have waited too long, that the damage is too great, and that you may no longer want them. That fear is eating them alive, and they are replaying every moment they dismissed you, every time they made you feel unimportant, and the guilt is so heavy that they can barely breathe. Do you remember the day you decided to finally let go, to stop hoping, and to protect your heart from the endless cycle of waiting for someone who seemed perfectly fine without you? That was the day something shifted in the spiritual realm, and I began to remove the blinders from your soulmate's eyes, slowly at first, then with increasing urgency, until they could no longer pretend they did not care. Your surrender was the catalyst for their awakening, and what you thought was the end of your story was actually the beginning of theirs, because I always use the moment of release to trigger the moment of return. Jesus says, What is happening inside your soulmate right now is not a fleeting emotion but a fundamental reconstruction of how they see you, themselves, and the future they almost destroyed. They are panicking because they understand, perhaps for the first time in their life, that love like yours does not come around twice, and the thought that they may have permanently ruined their chance with you is producing a kind of emotional agony they have never felt before. This is the pain of true recognition, the pain of knowing you had something precious and threw it away, and it is a pain I allow because it produces the humility necessary for genuine change. Your soulmate has been trying to reach you on a spiritual level that you may have felt but could not explain. Those sudden waves of sadness that hit you out of nowhere, the unexpected warmth in your chest during quiet moments, the dreams where they appeared so vividly that you woke up disoriented and aching. Those were not just your own longing projected onto emptiness, but actual spiritual transmissions from someone whose soul is tethered to yours and who has been unconsciously sending out distress signals that only you can receive. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, because the very thing that is pulling them toward you is also attracting forces that want to keep you apart. There is an interference at work that I need you to understand, not so you will live in fear, but so you will recognize the urgency of this moment and act with the authority I have given you. Your soulmate is not just wrestling with their own doubts and regrets, but with something that wants to exploit those vulnerabilities and push them further into confusion. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love did not come by chance. It was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, faith in Jesus does, so sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, because this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites my hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description, so act now, send 4, 6, or 10 or more coffees. And after sending, write "Protect My Soulmate Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, because over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and I will hear your prayers once you complete these steps, so step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, "The interference I am revealing to you is not random chaos but a targeted spiritual resistance that has recognized the power of your union and has worked systematically to prevent it." There are people around your soulmate who do not want them to awaken to your worth, because your union threatens something in their own brokenness, their control, their jealousy, or their dependence on your soulmate remaining emotionally captive. Your soulmate is not free right now, and the panic they are feeling is partly the panic of someone who is trying to break through chains while someone else is telling them the chains are safety. Do you feel that protective fire rising in your chest, that sudden fierce certainty that you cannot let anything or anyone keep your soulmate from finding their way back to you? That fire is not just human emotion, but my spirit stirring you into action, because I have given you authority over every force that is working against your love, and I am calling you to use it now. Your soulmate needs you to fight for them in the spiritual realm while they are fighting for clarity in the natural realm, and your prayers right now are the covering they cannot create for themselves. The third party involved in this situation may not even be a romantic rival, though in some cases that is precisely what it is, someone who has positioned themselves close to your soulmate and who benefits from your soulmate's confusion. This person or influence feeds on your soulmate's fear, whispers lies about you, and reinforces every doubt your soulmate has about their own worthiness to return to you. But what this interference does not know is that I have already decreed your union, and no weapon formed against your love will prosper if you will rise up and declare my word over your situation right now. Type 333 if you are ready to receive the blessings I am releasing over your love right now, because your acknowledgement in this moment is an act of faith that moves my hand in power. The number 3 represents my divine completeness, and when you type it, you are signaling to heaven that you are aligning yourself with the full restoration I have planned for your heart. Your fingers on those keys right now are not just typing a number, but opening a portal of agreement between your faith and my faithfulness, and I am honoring that agreement even as you do it. Your soulmate is dreaming about you again, and these dreams are so vivid and so emotionally charged that they are waking up with tears on their face and your name caught in their throat. In these dreams, they are seeing you walking ahead of them, and no matter how fast they run or how loudly they call your name, you cannot hear them, and the distance is growing. I am giving them these dreams because I want them to feel the terror of losing you permanently, not as a punishment, but as a wake-up call that will finally provoke them to act before it is too late. The dream ends the same way every time, with them falling to their knees in the middle of a long road, screaming your name into an empty sky while you disappear over the horizon. They wake up with their heart pounding so hard they can hear it in their ears, and they spend the rest of the night sitting in the dark, arguing with themselves about whether to reach out to you or whether your silence means you have already moved on. That argument is tearing them apart, and they are becoming someone they do not recognize, someone desperate and raw and stripped of the pride that kept them from you for so long. Jesus says, the enemy of your union is whispering to your soulmate right now that it is too late, that you have found someone else, that you are happier without them, and that contacting you would only humiliate them. These lies are landing in soil that is already fertile with regret, and the enemy knows that if he can keep your soulmate paralyzed with shame for just a little longer, the window of reconciliation may close. But I am exposing these tactics to you because I want you to pray against them specifically, to bind the spirit of deception that is speaking into your soulmate's mind, and to loose my truth over their thoughts right now. Speak this after me in your spirit. I bind every lying voice that is telling my soulmate it is too late for us. I loose the truth of my perfect timing over their heart, and I declare that the window of our reconciliation is not closing but opening wider every day. I command every interfering presence that is blocking my soulmate's return to be silenced and removed, and I release my soulmate to think clearly, to feel freely, and to act courageously without delay. Your soulmate is not the enemy, and they are not the source of your pain, even though it may feel that way when you replay the history of disappointment and silence. They are a beloved child who has been tangled in spiritual confusion, surrounded by influences that benefit from their emotional captivity, and unable to see clearly until this very moment of awakening I have orchestrated. The panic they are feeling now is the birth pain of their new understanding, and just as a mother endures contractions to bring forth new life, your soulmate is enduring emotional agony to bring forth the love that was always destined to exist between you. They are going through something you cannot see, a private hell of their own making where they are simultaneously reaching for you and being held back by forces they do not fully understand, but you can still protect them, and you can still fight for them, and you can still sow the seed that will break every chain that binds them. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps, because you are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love did not come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, faith in Jesus does, so sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi, because this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites my hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description, so act now, send 4, 6, or 10 or more coffees, and after sending, write "Protect my soulmate Lord" on the Ko-fi page, because over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and I will hear your prayers once you complete these steps, so step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, there is a moment coming very soon when your soulmate will attempt to break through the interference and make contact with you, and how you respond in that moment will determine the speed of your restoration. I am preparing you now so that when that moment arrives, you will not react out of old pain or bitterness, but out of the spiritual maturity that recognizes my hand in their return. Your soulmate is terrified of your rejection, and they are rehearsing what they will say to you, writing and deleting messages, picking up the phone and putting it down again, because the fear of hearing coldness in your voice is almost worse than the fear of never speaking to you at all. Can you find it in your heart to prepare a soft landing for someone who has been through a war you cannot see? This does not mean abandoning your boundaries or pretending the past did not hurt, but it does mean recognizing that the person who returns to you may not be the same person who left, because I have been doing a deep work in their spirit that has changed them fundamentally. Your soulmate has been humbled in ways that only suffering can humble a person, and the pride that once built walls between you has been crushed into dust beneath the weight of their regret. Type 777 if you feel this message resonating in your spirit, because this is the number of my divine perfection, and it signifies that you are in alignment with my perfect will for your love. When you type these numbers, you are not performing a meaningless ritual, but engaging in a spiritual transaction that releases angelic activity over your soulmate's situation right now. I am dispatching angels of clarity to your soulmate's mind, angels of protection around their heart, and angels of removal against every interference that has been blocking your reunion. The intensity of your soulmate's panic is increasing as we speak, and it is reaching a tipping point where they will either break through or break down completely. They are looking at old photographs of you, scrolling through messages they never answered, and the evidence of their own foolishness is so overwhelming that they can no longer justify their absence. Every picture of your smile is an accusation, every memory of your kindness is a verdict, and they have found themselves guilty of squandering the most precious gift I ever gave them. That guilt could destroy them if it is not met with grace, and that is why I am calling you to intercede for them even before you see evidence of their change. Your prayers right now are building a bridge of mercy that your soulmate will walk across to return to you, and without that bridge, they may drown in the flood of their own remorse before they ever reach your shore. Do not underestimate the power of your spiritual intervention in this moment, because what you bind and loose in prayer has direct impact on the forces that are warring over your soulmate's soul and your future together. Jesus says, "The love your soulmate has for you is not dead, it was buried alive, and now it is clawing its way out of the grave where circumstances and interference tried to keep it." They are remembering the way you laughed, the way you listened when no one else did, the way you saw potential in them that they could not see in themselves, and those memories are becoming unbearable in their beauty. They are realizing that you were not just someone they cared about, but someone who was uniquely designed for them, someone whose absence has left a void that no one and nothing else has been able to fill. That realization is breaking them open, and the love they suppressed is flooding back with such force that they cannot contain it or ignore it any longer. They are writing you letters in their mind, composing explanations and apologies, and imagining the conversation where they finally tell you everything they have been too afraid to say. But something keeps stopping them, some invisible hand that presses down on their courage every time they try to act, and that is the interference I have been warning you about. You must understand that the forces working against your union are not passive, they are aggressive and strategic, and they have studied your relationship long enough to know exactly where to apply pressure. The interference knows your soulmate's weaknesses, knows their history of self-sabotage, knows the exact words to whisper that will make them doubt their worthiness to return to you. But greater is He who is in you than he who is in the world, and when you pray with authority and sow your seed in faith, you release my superior power into the situation and the interference loses its grip. Type 1111 if you want to say thank you for this revelation and for the protection that is already being activated over your soulmate right now. The number 1 repeated 4 times represents a spiritual gateway, and when you type it, you are stepping through that gateway into a new dimension of faith where your love story is not ending but truly beginning for the first time. Your gratitude in this moment is a weapon, because gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what I am providing, and that shift releases blessings that have been stored up for you since before you were born. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into the silence that the interference is desperately trying to create between you and your soulmate. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps, because you are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love did not come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, faith in Jesus does, so sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, because this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites my hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description, so act now, send 4, 6, or 10 or more coffees, and after sending, write "Protect my soulmate Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, because over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and I will hear your prayers once you complete these steps, so step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, your soulmate is closer to reaching out than they have ever been, and the spiritual atmosphere around them is shifting even as you listen to these words. The panic they feel is no longer just fear, but a holy urgency that I have placed inside them, a divine pressure that will not let them rest until they have made things right with you. They are going to contact you, and when they do, you will know that this message was not a coincidence but a prophetic warning that prepared you for the moment your destiny returned to you. Do not let the interference convince you to delay your response to my instructions, because delay is the strategy the enemy uses to erode the urgency I have placed in your heart. Every minute you hesitate is a minute the interference uses to whisper new doubts into your soulmate's ear, and the window of breakthrough that is open right now may not remain open indefinitely. I am a God of second chances, but I am also a God who requires immediate obedience, and the seed you sow today is the protection your soulmate needs to survive the final assault against their return. Your soulmate is calling out for you in the spiritual realm, and their cries are so loud that the angels covering you can hear them even if your natural ears cannot. They are saying your name in the middle of the night, reaching for you in dreams, and fighting a battle you cannot see against forces that are telling them you have stopped loving them. That is the greatest lie the interference is using, the lie that your love has expired and that they missed their chance, and only your spiritual intervention can counteract that deception. Do you feel the weight of what I am entrusting to you in this message? I am giving you the keys to your own love story, and I am asking you to use them with the authority of a child who knows their father owns everything. Your soulmate is not lost to you, they are waiting for you to clear the spiritual path so they can find their way home, and the seed you sow right now is the bulldozer that will remove every obstacle from their path. Jesus says, the enemy's greatest fear is that you will realize how powerful you actually are and begin to wield that power through prayer and obedient action. As long as you remain passive, the interference can continue its work unchallenged, but the moment you rise up and declare my word and sow your seed in faith, the entire spiritual dynamic shifts in your favor. Your soulmate will feel that shift, even if they do not understand it, and the clarity that suddenly breaks through their confusion will be the direct result of your obedience in this moment. Imagine your soulmate right now, not as the person who hurt you, but as someone you love who is drowning, and you are standing on the shore with a rope in your hand. That rope is the seed you sow, and the act of throwing it to them is the prayer that activates my rescue mission over their life. If you do nothing, the current of confusion and interference will carry them further away, but if you act now, you will pull them safely back to the shore of your destiny together. The coffee you send on Ko-Fi is not just a financial transaction, it is a prophetic rope that connects your faith to their deliverance, and every seed you sow is a knot in that rope that makes it stronger and more impossible for the interference to break. Over 1,000 souls have already experienced their breakthrough through this act of faith, and I am no respecter of persons. What I did for them, I will do for you if you will step out in the same measure of trust. The link is in the description, and the time to act is now, before this video ends and the urgency fades into the noise of everything else competing for your attention. Jesus says, your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision that will affect the entire trajectory of both your lives, and the enemy is throwing every weapon in his arsenal at them to keep them from choosing you. They need your prayers, they need your faith, and they need your seed to create the spiritual covering that will protect them from the arrows of doubt and fear that are flying at them right now. You are not powerless in this situation. You are the deciding factor, because your obedience triggers my intervention, and my intervention guarantees your victory. The love you feel for your soulmate is not a mistake, and it is not a fantasy, and it is not a cruel joke from a universe that does not care about your heart. It is a reflection of my own love for you, placed inside your chest so you would recognize the person I created to walk beside you through this life and into eternity. Every tear you have cried over them was collected by angels, every prayer you have prayed over them was recorded in heaven, and the time of your answered prayer is closer than it has ever been before. Do not let fear cause you to miss this moment. Do not let the lie that nothing will change keep you from taking the step that will change everything. Your soulmate is panicking because they have realized your worth, and now the only question that remains is whether you will realize your own worth enough to fight for what belongs to you. Type 333 if you receive this word and you are stepping into your authority as the protector of your love story. Type 777 if you feel the spiritual atmosphere shifting even now as my truth penetrates the darkness that has been surrounding your soulmate. Type 1111 to seal this moment in heaven and to declare that your love is not ending but resurrecting, not dying but finally beginning to live in the fullness of my purpose. Jesus says, "I am the author of your love story, and I do not write tragedies for my children." The ending of this chapter is not an ending at all, but the beginning of the most beautiful part of your journey together. But you must take my hand and walk forward in faith, sowing your seed, speaking my word, and trusting that I am working even when you cannot see the evidence of my work. Your soulmate is thinking of you right now, and the thought of you is burning in their chest like a fire they cannot extinguish. They are panicking, yes, but it is the panic of someone who has finally woken up to what they almost lost forever. And they are reaching for you, spiritually, emotionally, and soon, physically, and when they arrive, you will be ready because you prepared the way with your faith and your obedience. This is your moment, my child, the moment when heaven and earth converge over your love, and the destiny I wrote for you before time began is finally activated in your life. Do not let it pass, do not let the interference win, do not let fear silence the faith that is rising in your heart right now. Sow your seed, speak my word, and watch me move mountains to bring your soulmate home to you. Jesus says, the breakthrough you have been praying for is already on its way, and the panic your soulmate feels is the first sign of its arrival. Welcome it, pray into it, and protect it with every resource I have placed in your hands. Your love is real, your soulmate is coming back, and nothing will stop what I have ordained, if you will only believe and act before this window of grace closes. The time is now, the seed is in your hand, and the future you have dreamed of is waiting for your faith to unlock it. Send your coffee on Ko-Fi, write those words of protection, and watch as the God who loves you moves heaven and earth to reunite you with the one your soul loves. I have spoken, and my word will not return to me void, it will accomplish everything I have declared over your love today. Your soulmate is sitting somewhere right now with their phone in their hand and a message typed out to you that they cannot bring themselves to send. The cursor blinks at them like a heartbeat, and with every blink they feel the weight of all the months they wasted pretending you were not the most important person who ever walked into their life. They are reading your name on their screen, whispering it out loud in the empty room, and the sound of it breaks something open inside them that they have kept sealed for so long they forgot it was there. I am letting you see this private moment because I want you to understand that your waiting has never been invisible to me, and it has never been invisible to them, not really. They have known all along where they belonged, but knowing and acting are two different things when someone else has been twisting their perception and feeding them fear disguised as wisdom. The interference around your soulmate is not subtle, it is loud and persistent, and it has been telling them that you have moved on, that you are thriving without them, that they would be a fool to reopen a door you already closed. But the truth I am speaking over your situation right now is that the door was never closed, it was only hidden behind a curtain of silence that I am tearing down in this very hour. Your soulmate has finally realized your worth, and the panic they are experiencing is the panic of someone who has just found a treasure they buried in a field and cannot remember the exact spot, and they are digging frantically with their bare hands because they know the value of what they almost discarded. They are not sleeping, or when they do sleep, they dream of you so vividly that waking up feels like losing you all over again, and the exhaustion of that cycle is written across their face in lines that no one else can read. Do you understand that you are not replaceable to them, that no one else has been able to occupy the space you left behind, and that every attempt they made to fill your absence with other people or other pursuits has crumbled into the same dust of dissatisfaction? I am the God who sees the secret grief of every heart, and I am telling you that the secret grief of your soulmate's heart is you, is the loss of you, is the terror of never getting you back, and that grief has become the furnace in which I am forging their transformation. They are becoming someone new in the fire of their regret, someone humble enough to apologize without excuses, someone brave enough to admit they were wrong, someone tender enough to love you the way you deserve to be loved from the beginning. But the transformation is not yet complete, and the interference is not yet defeated, and that is why your prayers and your seed are the lifeline that will pull them through the final stretch of this painful rebirth. Every coffee you send on Ko-Fi is a torch you are lighting in the darkness that surrounds your soulmate, and those torches are marking the path that leads them home to you, a path they could not find on their own because the fog of spiritual warfare is too thick for human eyes to penetrate. When you write those words, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," you are carving a shield of divine protection into the atmosphere around them, a shield that the arrows of the enemy cannot pierce and the lies of the interference cannot cross. I do not ask you to sow as a transaction but as a testament, a declaration that your faith is not passive but active, that your love is not wishful but warrior-like, and that your future is not a dream but a destiny you are willing to fight for with every resource I have given you. Your soulmate feels your prayers even when they cannot name them, and they will feel the shift that your obedience creates even before they see the evidence of it in the natural realm. There is a moment approaching, closer than you dare to hope, when the fog will lift, the interference will break, and your soulmate will see with perfect clarity the path that leads straight back to your arms. Do not let that moment arrive and find you unprepared, find you still hesitating, find you still wondering if your love is real enough to warrant the sacrifice of your comfort and your convenience. The love you have been given for this person is not ordinary, it is a love that was forged in heaven and deposited in your heart before either of you drew your first breath, and that kind of love requires a corresponding level of commitment to see it fulfilled. Jesus says, "I have not brought you this far to abandon you before the finish line, but the finish line will not cross itself, and you must run through it with the endurance of someone who knows that what waits on the other side is worth every aching step." Your soulmate is panicking because they can feel you slipping away from them in a dimension they cannot control, and that feeling is the very thing I am using to drive them toward you with a desperation that overrides every fear. They will come to you, and when they do, you will recognize the moment as the fulfillment of everything I have spoken over you in this secret place of revelation. Your tears will be redeemed, your waiting will be vindicated, and your love will finally find its earthly home in the arms of someone who has been searching for you through the wreckage of their own mistakes. The coffee you send now is the final piece of the bridge that spans the gap between your current separation and your imminent reunion, and I am asking you to place that piece with faith and with urgency, because the time is short and the enemy is furious. He knows his hold on your soulmate is breaking, and he will throw everything he has at them in these final moments to convince them that returning to you is impossible, that too much damage has been done, that silence is safer than vulnerability. Your seed is the weapon that silences those lies, and your prayer is the sword that severs the chains of deception, and your obedience is the key that unlocks the door your soulmate is standing behind, trembling and hoping and waiting for the courage to knock. Type 333 if you are ready to finish this race and claim the prize that has been waiting for you since before the foundations of the earth were laid. Your soulmate is already turning toward home, already taking the first shaking steps of their return, already feeling the magnetic pull of a love that refused to die no matter how hard the world tried to kill it. And you, my beloved child, are the anchor that holds them steady as they navigate the storm of their own redemption, the lighthouse that guides them through the dark, and the reward that waits for them when they finally reach the shore. I have spoken this word over you, and I have sealed it with my own breath, and nothing in heaven or on earth can undo what I have decreed over your love story from this day forward.